Nation, man. We are officially in what I like to call the real part of the NFL season. This is where real football is being played. Everything that happens in September and October, of course, it matters, but it don't really matter. This is like in baseball when September comes, in the last month, kind of like after All-Star break in the NBA, where we start to see separation. One thing about the NFL that's different from the NBA is you can be a wild card team. You can be one of those teams at the bottom of the standing in the playoff, in the hunt season, I like to call it. Who do y'all think? Who do y'all like? Maybe it could be one team or a couple teams who y'all feel they're in the, I'll say, outside of the top three in each conference, who you feel like can be a threat to make a large run. I'm gonna go first with this one. I'm gonna kind of piggyback off what Bang said. I might regret this in a couple weeks. I'm feeling the Dallas Cowboys, man. I'm feeling the Dallas Cowboys. The reason I say, if you look at the seven right now in the NFC, of course, the top three, Philly, Detroit, San Francisco. That's not the way I would have it ordered. I think you still have to have Philly number one. I would say San Francisco number two. Then I would say Detroit number three. New Orleans is only there because they're in a weak-ass division. They're going to get a home game because division winners are supposed to have home games. And not to have anything wrong with that. I think if you win the division, you should get a home game. It's just fucked up when bad divisions do have home games. So then it goes to my last three. You got the Dallas Cowboys, you got the Seattle Seahawks, you got the Minnesota Vikings. I think Minnesota Vikings, the Joshua Dobbs story is cool, and I think Joshua Dobbs is a solid quarterback, and he might be their long-term quarterback. I don't see enough from that team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe think they can make a large run. Seattle, I was big on Seattle early in the season. They've kind of come down back to earth this week. I'm really interested to see how they're going to play in the Thanksgiving night game on the road at Levi Stadium against the San Francisco 49ers. That game's going to tell me a lot. But I'm circling the Cowboys because the Cowboys, to me, you talk about Dante old school sayings, and I don't know if this one's 100% correct anymore, but defenses do win championships. They got a great defense. They got Michael Parsons, everybody over there. And Dak has been playing good football. We had my cousin Dan on here a couple weeks ago, and he was like, yo, we need to start giving Dak more credit. I don't think the issue with Dak was playing well in the regular season is what can he do in the playoffs. And I think if there's any year that they could possibly make a run and make it scary for those big three teams, especially Detroit. Like, I know Detroit is having a better year than them, but if Detroit is playing Dallas in a playoff game in Ford Field, I'm going with Michael Parsons. I'm going with Dak. I'm going with the Cowboys because as good as the Lions are, they have not been in this situation before. Even if they play at Philadelphia, that is a division game. And that'll be their third time playing. Every time you play a division opponent in the playoffs, who the fuck knows what's going to happen because you play these guys so long. So I would have to say Dallas will probably be a team that I've got on my sleeper list or somebody who I feel like could make a deep run, especially because they're as under the radar as they're possibly going to get being the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to go to Dante first, man. Dante, what's the team in the NFC? And then we'll go to AFC as far as who we think are sneaky.
I don't think it's sneaky, but I agree with your Cowboys pick. If you're talking about strictly in terms of outside of the top three, because those other teams, I really don't think is much. I don't want to say hope out there for them, but the Vikings, like I said it last week, all of that good story shit, it always comes back to reality eventually. So the whole Joshua Dobbs thing is cool, and I do think he will keep them serviceable. They will probably make the playoffs just because our division is that weak. Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, outside of the Lions, our division is that weak, so they'll be that second. They'll make that second playoff spot. But the rest of the teams, when you look at the teams that are on the bubble, you got a lot of teams that are 4-6. Don't trust the Falcons. Don't trust the Bucks. The Packers are 4-5. So I don't. So out of all the teams below that top three, you can't help but go with Dallas.
Bang, let me go to you. Who you got? Are you still with us on the Cowboys, or you gonna go another way?
Yeah, no, it's the Cowboys here. Just looking at the conference standings, Eagles is the number 1 seed. The Lions are the number 2 seed, and the 49ers are the number 3 seed. And what's crazy is because of division, the Saints are the 4th seed. So you look at the Cowboys, it's no question it's them. I have no faith in the Seahawks or Minnesota, and I just noticed something that just made me even more irritated about that Detroit game. And when it comes to the Bears, with seeing the standings and how they look.
Which is why you guys need to tune into overtime, because we really going to get into that.
I really just did not notice that until just right now. Wow. With that being said, yeah, it's the Cowboys. There's nothing else to say.
Mike, yeah, we gonna make it a clean sweep here.
Yeah. I've been on them. I've been on them heavy. Especially if you just look at the way the season is going to play out. If they stay in the 5 seed, unless the Eagles have a collapse here in the next couple weeks, where they give up the NFC East to the Cowboys, then the Cowboys are in prime position to play the winner of a lowly NFC South team. So whether that's Saints or the Bucks, Saints, Bucks, or Falcons, it probably will be the Saints. So that's a perfect matchup. Then you play the 5. The 5 will play the 2. So we're looking at if the standings hold the Lions. I'm with you, Scott. I'm gonna ride with Dak Prescott and I'm gonna ride with Michael Parsons and that defense. That defense will travel well to Ford Field. We already know Cowboys fans will travel wherever this game is at for a playoff game. So in the NFC, I don't really see any upsets there. I see if you're looking for a wild card team, it would definitely be the Cowboys. I like Seattle and I like their brand of football. I like the way they play, but Geno's banged up, Kenneth Walker's banged up. They lost some people in the secondary, so now it's gonna be tough sledding. If Cooper Kupp wasn't hurt, the Rams could kind of be sneaky because if you anticipate a Vikings drop off and the Rams maybe being able to win some games here with Matthew Stafford back, then that might be something to watch. But I think it might be a little too late for them.
I was gonna do the Bears thing and say what about the Packers, but I just took a glance at them niggas' schedule. They got Detroit on Thanksgiving, then they got the Chiefs. Yeah,
they're gonna get sent to God.
Yeah, they're gonna get sent to God. Let's talk about the AFC, and then after we do the AFC, I'll do my goofy mog of the week, and we'll be done with the first hour. The second hour, I'm not gonna hold you overtime. We'll be on the Patreon. AFC, man, is a little different because I feel like AFC actually has a little bit of a race from seeds 3 all the way down. Like we have an actual competition. I feel like the 7 in the NFC are set. It's just a matter of what seeds they're going to be. Jacksonville 7-3, Miami 7-3, Cleveland 7-3, Houston 6-4, Pitts 6-4, and that's the 7. I'm going to say I kind of have like a 2-part answer for this with the AFC. If you want to say sneaky team, I'd say Houston. I'd say Houston sneaky team. They're 6-4. CJ had a bad game last night, but what I love what he said Steph Curry keeps shooting, he missed threes. I'm gonna do the same shit. There's no worry in my body that he's gonna regress or anything like that. They got a big matchup against the Jaguars next week. They play the Texans. They play the Broncos, and they play the Jets, the Titans, Texas again. So they got like a decent schedule. I feel like they're still gonna get some wins here. But if I had to go off a team that I wouldn't want to see, I'm gonna say Buffalo. Just because that's a team, if you're like Jacksonville, right? Let's just say Buffalo, and I do feel that Pittsburgh will drop. I think they're going to drop. Buffalo get a 6 seed, Jacksonville, home game, in Duval. As much shit as we talk about Josh Allen, you don't want to see them boys in the first round. You know what I'm saying? Now you look there, they're going to take the underdog route because they're like, oh, now we're not one of these top 2 seeds. All this pressure's on us. That's a team that I would not want to see. Anybody else, I would have said Cincinnati, but Joe Burrow's out for the rest of the year. Denver could be sneaky if they can win a couple more games. But for right now, I'm gonna say Buffalo, man. I'm gonna go to Bang, man. What you think about the AFC?
Since you said Buffalo, which was gonna be my pick, I don't want us to be all on one accord like it was in the NFC. So I am going to pick the Denver Broncos. I think, you have a Super Bowl experienced quarterback. You have a Super Bowl experienced coach. You have a defense that's much improved right now. And then the weather is about to be the weather. I wanted to pick the Browns. I really did because during the playoffs, defense wins championships. But I just don't trust the offensive side of the ball. If Nick Chubb would still be healthy, I would have picked the Broncos. That's how much I believe in that defense where if you just get 17 points, you're going to win this game because of that defense. But with that being said, we're not going too close to the top by picking the Miami Dolphins because they sit at 4 right now. I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos.
There we go. I'm unmuted now. Mikey, what you think about the AFC?
For sake of not being in unison, I'm actually gonna ride with the Indianapolis Colts, man. They're right there. They're right there on the brink. I like their style of play. They're gonna run the ball with Jonathan Taylor. They have a nice wide receiver one in Michael Pittman, who is very underrated. I like what they're doing defensively, and their schedule lines up. I mean, they're right on the bubble, right behind the Bills. They're at 5-5, and the rest of the way they're looking at. Let me bring it up. I just had it right here, but they have the Colts. They have the Bucks coming up next week. That should be a winnable game. Let me see. I had it right here. So they got the Colts, the Titans, the Bengals, Steelers, Falcons, Raiders, Texans. They are in prime position where they can win all of these games. They should, or not all of these games, but they should be all of these games. And then when you have the Bills on top of them, the Bills have a very tough week. It was a huge win for the Bills yesterday, and Josh Allen to get their confidence back. They had a lot of stuff going on up there with the firing of Ken Dorsey, Courtney, coming for Josh Allen's head. But after this week, or after today, they have the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Cowboys, Chargers, Patriots, Dolphins. Those next 3 games are going to decide the fate of their season. Yep. So I think you can go with the Colts and the Broncos. I think they will eventually supplant the Steelers. And I think the Browns, the Browns defense is going to carry them for as long as they can. But I don't know how long they can get away with not really putting up anything offensively. So I'm going to ride with the Colts. I think they could be sneaky, a sneaky wild card team.
That's an interesting pick, man. Dante, we're going to close this up with you.
My sneaky pick is a team that I think I'm all in on CJ Stroud. I'm going with the Texans. I think the Texans obviously not go to the Super Bowl, but I think they could definitely knock somebody off first round. And I think it's mainly because of CJ Stroud. I think, we've seen that he's not shaken by the big moments. He hasn't played like a rookie, and I think that's going to continue. And I know, college football is different, but, just you saw in the college football championships, he shined in the biggest moments. So, I think that's somebody he's going to continue to carry that team, continue to lead that team, and we're going to see that he is, truly. I know it's early, so I ain't going to say top 10, but he's clearly a top 15 quarterback in the NFL, and he's trending up, and I think the Texans are going to be that team to make it to the playoffs.
That paper on this player haters, old news, money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not